Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole bringing you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. TGIF, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on what time you are watching this live. Hello, crew. Hope all is well. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Well, Angie Stone, hey, Jay. Angie Stone's funeral happened. I believe it happened today, if I am not mistaken. Happened today. And the reason why I don't know the exact date, hey Trina, the reason why I don't know the exact date, just for personal, to give you guys a personal insight on me, I don't do well with funerals. I don't do well with people passing. That is just something that is just very something that I've never been good with. So I don't typically watch people's funerals. The only funerals I go to is the ones that I absolutely have to go to. It's just a draining experience in my personal opinion. So I had no desire to watch her funeral. I kind of just wanted to remember her how she was, which was a beautiful African American woman who was extremely talented. Had 40 plus years in the business. I kept saying 30, but I didn't even realize that Angie Stone used to be a rapper on Sugar Hill Records back in the early 80s. So when I tell you she put in work, she put in work. But I started seeing clips of Tyler Perry speaking at her funeral. Now, for whatever reason, Tyler Perry does speak at a lot of Black celebrities' funerals. One thing I will say is he is a good speaker. He definitely kind of gives the pastor preacher vibes when he does speak, to try to get people, to clap and cheer and everything else. So I was kind of curious on what he actually was going to speak about. So I clicked, did the whole YouTube thumbnail bait, and I clicked on it. And what I heard, I just said, the audacity. The audacity. And I'm going to play that part, and we're going to talk about it. Because one thing that people do know, hope about me, who actually are followers of me, this whole Black billionaire success stories that I constantly hear, the reality is when you're dealing with billionaires, you're typically dealing with people that they have oppressed along the way. They have screwed over people along the way to get to that status. Make no exceptions to Black billionaires. Black billionaires, I mean, what makes them any different than other billionaires who are not Black? Unfortunately, sometimes, though, they usually have to screw over their own people to get where they are. So I'm going to play this, but I definitely was just like, we need to talk about this. I wanted to be just very raw and candid about this because I just did not understand the stuff that he was saying. But we're going to talk about it for those who actually know Tyler Perry's past. We're definitely going to talk about it. So give me 1 second so we can discuss it. All right, let me share. All right, we are here. Y'all ready to go? So let's do this, shall we? And fair use, fair use, fair use. This is for educational purposes, entertainment purposes only. Fair use. Let's go. I do not own the rights for this video.
She was doing a show at the Civic Center, and I went to see the show, and she was telling me some things that were going on. And she's like, "Would you come on stage when I sing Brother?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So I'm there, and she's singing the song, just singing her heart out and her soul. got a text from video from Taraji P. Henson. She was saying, let me tell you a story about Angie. Then I started hearing all these stories about her. Taraji said she had just done Baby Boy. It wasn't really super famous. And she heard that Angie was at a club, and she went to see her at the club, and Angie didn't perform, but she came out, and she was like, whoa, I'm so sorry, I came to see you. And she's like, that promoter ain't have my money, so yeah. I want to go down the street of those promoters and record labels and people not paying folks.
Okay, I know I got to pause in between. He said he gonna go down that lane of talking about promoters and record labels and people not paying folks. But let's continue.
But anyway, Taraji said she took her in the corner and she sung a song for her in that club. That's the heart of a person. That's the soul of a person who cared about her fans, who cared about getting paid. You know, I was being interviewed by this woman once, and she was telling me, she said, Tyler, I just want to tell you, I can always tell when they're going to go left because their interview starts, all these questions. And then it's like, you know, the black women in your movies, do you portray them? It's such negativity, and they're always going through something, and they're always, and just a black woman. I asked her, I said, you ever been through something? She's like, my life is great. I have a great husband. My kids are great. Everything's wonderful. I said, God bless you that you can live a perfect life. That's wonderful. Then I turned to her and I asked her, I said, how old are you? She said, 25. I said, baby, keep living. But I look at these young folks who are living these lives and they think that it's supposed to be the way that it is on Instagram. And they're forgetting about the people who have paved the way for them to be in that situation. They're forgetting about the women like Angie Stone, who's been in the business all of these years. You're gonna forget about what she did, all of the people that she put on and helped. So you gotta go through something to write a song like $20. Because then she says, what you know about being poor. She don't say poor, she says poor. What you know about having to borrow from the neighbor next door. These are her words. What you know about bumming rides. What you know about having to swallow your pride. And this is the part of the song that got to me when she said, what do you do when you're through? When you're always helping people and nobody is there for you. Y'all gotta forgive me because I'm angry at the way she was treated. I did not.
Ooh, his acting is spectacular, isn't it? Let me continue.
I know all the things that she was going through. Recently, I found out because I'm not on Instagram. I'm not being hooked and manipulated by an algorithm telling me what to think and how to feel. So I don't see everything. But to think that this woman was in the business for all of these years, and there's a difference between performing because you want to and performing because you have to. All of those years, all of those songs, all of that money that was owed to her, where is it? It's wrong. It is wrong. And I'm tired of seeing us struggle and go through things and work hard and not reap the benefits of what we were supposed to reap.
I am tired of seeing us struggle and work hard and not be able to reap the benefits. Y'all heard that, right? You heard it? Let's continue.
But you got to be careful when you start mistreating people, especially children of God, because the Bible says, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. And I'm going to tell you something. This woman was a prophet. She prophesied and preached her own eulogy. What am I talking about? In her song, No More Rain in This Cloud, she says, my sunshine has come. And I'm all cried out. There's no more rain in this cloud. And many of you may not know this, but I'm a pilot. And when you are a pilot, the first thing you study is the weather. And I learned about clouds, and what a cloud is particles, air and particles. And when the brain gets in that cloud and the particles get too heavy, it becomes to rain. It drops to the ground. It falls. It is just like our souls. We hold so much in. We hold so much pain. We hold so much that it has to come out of our eyes as tears. But the beauty of what she was talking about is when a cloud has no more tears, it dissipates. It's gone. But if you listen to that song again, there's a part that I want you to really, really listen to. She said, what goes around comes around. What goes up must come down. The thing.
I agree, Tyler. I agree with that. And I also agree that the soul is heavy, especially when people feel like they're getting screwed over, like Monique. But we're not going to talk about Monique because, you know, Monique is not my favorite person in the world, but I've never denied right is right and wrong is wrong, even though she definitely has shown many occasions where, in my opinion, she has been wrong. However, her story was very consistent with how the Tyler Perrys and them treated her when it came to this industry. But I want to go back because I've talked about this before on a live, and I want to go back when it comes to Tyler Perry. See, Tyler Perry is a billionaire who for a very long time did not want writers, okay? We could definitely see that with what he puts out. He didn't want writers. But at one point he did have writers, okay? He had writers. He had writers on a little show called The House of Pain, if y'all remember that show. He started off with the writer's room. Now, allegedly, once the writers, because all of the writers were new, inexperienced writers, they were writers who didn't know the business. They were writers who didn't understand the whole purpose of unions and all of that stuff. Once they realized that all of the work they were doing should have been put under the union, the WGA, the moment that they went to Tyler wanting to unionize is the moment that he allegedly let them go. Now, he is claiming that is not the case. He claims that all of a sudden, the reason why he let them go is because he just didn't like the work that they were producing. Mind you, they had already been working for the show, I want to say at least one season. One or maybe even more seasons. So it's interesting that now all of a sudden, you are upset with their work the moment they want to unionize. All right. So work with me here, y'all. Work with me here. He claimed in 2020, he said he fired them because they weren't giving him what he wanted. But he's upset that the whole story around it was that because they requested to be unionized, that all of a sudden he let them go. But he kind of slipped up on this. But let me break it down to you guys on why it's important to be unionized for those who may not understand the whole union of it. When you are doing a show where maybe you're like a writer, producer, director, an actor, the union makes sure that you get the money that you are worth, okay? Not only benefits, but yes, the money that you are actually worth. The problem is, since there are so many shows that are out there now, you do have a lot of shows that are not union shows. So essentially what happens is those shows can kind of create their own salary for their writers, their directors, their producers, okay? So for example, let's just say you have a show that is not a union-based show, and they decide to pay you $1,500 a week for you to write on that show, okay? Now, of course, naturally, you're a writer. This is your dream to write. And so $1,500 a week, you're thinking, hell, that's great money. I'll write for free. So to get paid $1,500 a week for something I love to do, great. I'm all for it. The problem is if that show was unionized or if you was on a union show, you would actually get paid about $5,500 or $6,500 a week. 1,500, excuse me, you guys, 1,500, 55 or 6,500 a week. And that's minimum. All right. So there's a big difference in pay. And one thing about these TV shows, you're typically not working 365 days a year like your average 9 to 5. A lot of these shows, you may write for the show for 4 to 5 months, and then you don't have employment again until either the next year, or it may take you another couple of years for you to get a job. All right. So naturally, you may make in about 3 to 4 months, maybe $40,000, $50,000. And you're thinking, well, in 3 to 4 months, $40,000, $50,000, that's great money. But if you're not working for the rest of the year, that's your money for the whole entire year until you can find you another job. Hopefully, if you can find you another job. But if it was a union job, that 40, 50,000 could potentially be $80,000 to $100,000. Because mind you, this is a $1 trillion industry, so they can afford it. $80,000 to $100,000 within those 4 to 5 months, 3 to 4 months. That can stretch your money a lot longer until you find something else, correct? So this is essentially what was going on. All right. What was happening was he was having writers who literally weren't union. They weren't union. They were not getting paid what they were worth. And the moment that they claimed that they requested they wanted to be unionized, he said he had to let them go, but he said it was because they weren't doing what he wanted them to do. But at this point in this article, it even says, I had a moment where I asked for a rewrite and the writer filed a grievance with the union, he continued. And then he makes a comment saying, I felt like I was asking for too many changes and would never accept the script. I was furious. But here's the thing. Every time you write, every time you make changes, typically that's how it works. You're supposed to get paid if you're union. So that writer was understanding their worth as a writer. And it seemed to me, just based off of that, he said he was furious. He didn't like that. So you're kind of telling on yourself that you kind of let them go because they was trying to follow union principles. So, yeah. And so the fact that he's saying, I'm mad, I'm pissed off that she wears her money at, well, Tyler, where's the money that you probably still owe these writers from House of Pain? Because I will probably take an educated guess that a lot of them haven't been able to have a very successful career after that because, one, your name is on their resume. And that can be for multiple reasons because of the fact that you had issues with their writing or claimed there was issues. Like there's probably a negative side with them having your name on the resume. But furthermore, remember now he's claiming to have writers' rooms, but rumor has it they're still not union. Yeah, Tyler's still not union. So in other words, Tyler is still not paying writers their worth. He's not. And he's the producer, and typically he directs, but there are people who are still getting hired by Tyler Perry that are not getting their money's worth. Now, apparently, he tried to say in the beginning of his career, he couldn't afford the union salaries because he couldn't afford it. Well, now, sir, you're a billionaire. So what's the excuse? And this is why I say time and time again, in order to be a billionaire, you have to, in some kind of way, oppress someone making your way up or oppress someone to keep your money. And so as far as I see it, the rumors are true that he's still not paying people union, he's just paying them what they want to pay, he should be mad at himself. He should be mad at himself. And then the fact that those writers, Black writers, were fighting for the rights that they naturally deserved, and then they were let go. Sir, you probably got a lot of people out there whose souls are heavy based off of how you treated them, allegedly. So yeah, I don't want to hear this nonsense about freaking Tyler Perry, okay? I do not want to hear that this man is talking about how so upset he was with how Angie Stone was treated. Sir, how would Angie Stone approve of what you are allegedly doing to writers? How would she approve? Because there was a couple of writers back in his House of Pain days who did start doing interviews complaining about what he was doing. I remember those articles in those interviews. They were actually talking about it consistently, about how unfair Tyler treated them. Now, of course, Tyler is trying to say it's not true, but honestly, who would y'all believe in this situation? I already know Tyler got the stands just like the rest of these celebrities have stands. But at this point, have we gotten to the point where maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't believe the people who are celebrities? They have to protect their image. But those people were trying to protect their bank accounts. And the reality is, I'm curious to know if they still feel like they're owed money. Because if you're trying to offer me, say, $1,500 a week, when technically I was owed $5,500 a week, hell yeah. Who wouldn't want that extra damn money? Anybody would want that. And you're not going to be able to convince me that show did not make a ton of money. That show lasted, I want to say, at least 4 seasons. So now, naturally, there have been some actors who have sung Tyler's praises about how they just named their price and Tyler just paid it with no hesitation. But I guess that's really easy for you to do when you are allegedly not paying everybody else. Allegedly, you're not paying your writers. You're doing the actual directing, so you don't have to pay yourself because you're getting paid off of the movie anyways. You're also doing the producing. So yeah, of course you can pay your actors anything, but that's the way, in my opinion, he kind of masked what has been the rumors and articles that have been out there about him for years. Not to mention the alleged lawsuits about him taking other people's scripts or taking other people's ideas. So yeah, Tyler, sorry, the nerve, the audacity of you to be mad about something that you've been accused of for years. I don't understand it. But again, people allow him to be this way. You see all of the people who was cheering and clapping. I literally saw comments on YouTube and on Instagram saying that, oh, protect Tyler at all costs. Tyler Perry is for us. Really? Really? If there was literally an honest, open thread about how people feel about Tyler Perry, really, and how he treats certain employees, I think people would be very shocked. People will be very shocked. But again, like I told you guys before, once people get a certain amount of power, unfortunately, people become fearful of saying something because then they don't want to get blackballed to possibly, have other opportunities. And let's be clear, a blackball is definitely possible. Look at what Monique went through, simply because she wanted to get paid to actually promote Precious. And allegedly, one sentence saying she was difficult to work with caused a shitstorm in her life for years. So you have people who souls are heavy and they're fuming inside about being mistreated, but they can't say anything because they're afraid to get blackballed. So while I agree that Angie Stone definitely had the guts to finally speak up about her truth, but mind you, she had been in the business for 40 years. I'm sure she saw signs even before last year, but finally decided to say something. That should tell you right there the type of power people have, where people feel like they can't say anything, even though they know they're being treated unfairly. And that's another thank you. See, Jay, thank you. You're speaking up now. And see, this is a thing that I say about these celebrities who claim they have all this money. You're speaking up now. But where were you when she was talking about that? Where were you to possibly pay for her attorneys and things like that? And again, could it be possible he's doing that behind the scenes? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I have said this time and time again. If we had all of these celebrities who claim to have all of this wealth and all of this access, if they truly did what other communities did and really support fellow other Black artists and to make sure they're protected so they don't go through the things that they, like go through. The whole purpose with the community is if you make certain mistakes or you go through something, you want to ensure that other people in the community don't go through the same thing. That's the way, that's how community works. That's how successful community works. You would think all of these people will come together to kind of create things to make sure that people are protected. But how can you make sure people are protected if you are allegedly a part of the people who are oppressing them? Feel what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, Angie is an example. Nikki Gilbert is an example. I've mentioned her before. She alleges that P Valley was taken from her, was stolen from her. She's been alleging that. She's been putting so much money in the court system, trying to fight this to the point where she's taking it all the way to the Supreme Court. But she's worked with Tyler Perry allegedly before. She admires Tyler Perry. Where Tyler Perry at when it comes to her legal fees on this? Are you a part of the problem or are you a part of the solution? And are you only a part of the solution when at that point it's too late or it's a done deal? Like, why aren't you helping Nikki Gilbert? And maybe because you are a part of the system who do those type of things. Because again, if you look up Tyler Perry, I know they can erase the internet, but I found articles before where you can see that people have allegedly sued him for taking ideas, scripts, or whatever the case may be. So to try to sue someone or to support someone who's suing someone from taking their idea will kind of be like, I don't know, maybe giving permissions for other people to sue you. Maybe that's the case. I don't know, but I feel like a lot of these billionaires claim that they're all about the people when it's convenient, when it's only convenient. So, yeah, he can definitely get the preacher tone down, because as you can see, he know how to do the whole preach down and preacher and all of the stuff that he was saying, and don't mess with child's anointed and everything else, and and he believes in the word. Okay, sir. All right. I'm still side-eyeing you on a lot of things that have been out there for years. Still going to get a side eye from me when it comes to Monique. Still to this day, Monique, he has not given her an apology from my understanding. Now, I understand that he was upset that she recorded him. You know what I mean? I understand that because privately recording somebody is messed up. I'm not going to pretend like it's not messed up. Literally recording someone and they're not aware they're being recorded, it is shady. However, do I understand why she did it? Yes, because like you're saying, Trina, people can be very performative. So what they say behind closed doors, they won't dare say it in person or in the public eye. And what he was telling her behind closed doors, he may try to deny everything in front of the cameras. So I could see why she did that to protect herself. You know? So yeah, exactly. Exactly. Monique exposed them cats sat up there and said, you are a gatekeeper. He pretty much implied he was a gatekeeper. Why is it that you are the only one that can be successful in your group, in your camp? You have all of this access. You have a freaking studio, and you mean to tell me you haven't created a amazing type of Denzel Washington or Angela Bassett yet? You haven't created like one of the top black female or black male writers and producers. You haven't done any of that. It's just your name. You trying to be the best actor, the best writer, the best director, the best producer. Just narcissistic behavior. So you're going to have to miss me with this. I was like, the nerve of him. I said, well, let me see what Tyler talking about. And then the more he talked, the more my face scrunched up. And I said, oh, hell no. You have got to be kidding me. I'm mad. I'm mad at how she been treated. How mad are you? How mad are you? How mad are people that you screwed over? Allegedly. I'm sure you got people right now who still pissed off at Tyler Perry because of things that have occurred. So, yeah, I'm not trying to hear it. Acting a script. Right. And from my understanding, that show that came out on Netflix that I reviewed before, I forgot the name of that show. What is the name of that freaking show? What is it? What's the name of that show that I reviewed? Apparently, the second part has come on. I don't even know. I did not even know. I was like, oh, it's back on? I don't even know. I don't even know if I'm going to review it. And the crazy part about it is, from my understanding, this actual show has a writer's room. But I have heard that allegedly, yes, thank you, Jay, Beauty in Black. I have heard that in the writer's room, he still controls the writer's room and he wants it the way he wants it. Allegedly, he does not allow people to get the creative outlet that they want and need to really show how creative they are. It's his way or the highway. And yes, typically showrunners can be that way from my understanding, but at the same time, they usually hire you because they trust your writing ability. But my understanding is just pretty much he wants you to put his words on paper, and yeah, and that's it. And that's it. That's all. I don't even know if they're necessarily getting the writing credits they necessarily deserve. And again, they're not getting the union credit. Apparently, he does not hire union writers, which is messed up because at this point, he has the means. If you was at a point where you could have enough money to buy BET, sir, you have the means to be able to create wealth in your community. Not just wealth for you, but wealth for others. And I'm not even saying that these people have to have like millions on top of millions of dollars every year. But granted, there are union shows where writers make that type of money. Writers can easily make that type of money. They can make 30,000, 40,000, you know what I'm saying, like a month, you know, or they can make 30, 40,000 an episode. So they can make pretty good money where that can create wealth, where they can buy homes or whatever the case may be. I would like to know if people behind the scenes that work for Tyler Perry, if they can do that with the money that he provides. He gives, and the thing is, it's giving, I know you're desperate. I know you need to work. So you're going to take this because you need it. That's how capitalism works. I know you're desperate, and I'm going to continue to make my money and hold my money while I give you pennies. So yeah, I wanted to share that. I just got really annoyed when I saw that. Yeah. This is why I say don't put your trust in celebrities. They will say things that sound great and they truly do not live by what they're talking about. Now, again, this is all alleged, but again, I did pull an article showing what his words were verbatim about how he felt about what they was accusing him of. He claims it's not true. Again, if you guys look up Tyler Perry writer's House of Pain, you may even be able to find actual interviews, hopefully, if they haven't been pulled, about people talking about that. I even discussed this before in a video. I'll see if I can actually link that to this video. But yeah, he definitely was trying to do his preacher thing today and claim and talked about the Bible. And I was like, the audacity, the audacity. Angie Stone, I'm sure if she knew the stories of what has been said about Tyler and she spoke to those writers from House of Pain, I'm sure she would disagree. She would definitely disagree with what they have been accusing Tyler of. Period. So for you to stand there knowing that that woman passed broke, that could easily be someone who used to work for you, who can't even pay their bills because they were trying to follow their dreams, thinking that you, this black man, was going to help them fulfill their dreams and make money in the process. And now they can't pay their bills. And like he said, there's a difference between wanting to perform and having to perform. That's also the difference in people wanting to write or having to write, or wanting to direct and having to direct, or wanting to produce and having to produce. A lot of people want to create to put a stamp on their legacy, but also, just like with any other job, you eventually want to retire. I would like to know how many people behind the scenes that work for you can retire after a certain amount of time. Yeah. So with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for listening in. Yeah, I don't give a hell a damn what Tyler said. And look, maybe he's trying to rewrite his wrongs that he allegedly did back in the day. That's fine, especially when people are coming up, hey, I guess people can make mistakes. I don't know how much that was a mistake, but people can make mistakes. But to me, righting your wrongs would initially start off with the people that you allegedly screwed over in the first place. Yeah, you would need to start off with them House of Pain writers. Give them what their worth was, what they should have got paid even back then, and then work your way down. Start with the foundation of what created all of this in the first place, and then work your way down with all of the people that you have allegedly screwed over. You think is the damage is done? I feel like as long as he is alive and he has the means, he could actually rewrite history to a certain extent. Not saying that, of course, we're still going to see that information, but just like Diddy, I hate to bring him up, even though they said he had his own purpose and his own reason for doing what he did. Remember, Diddy was trying to allegedly give back publishing to artists. Now, apparently he has selfish reasons for doing it because, of course, he was trying to say they need to write an NDA or whatever, or sign an NDA allegedly saying that they can't talk about him in a negative way, but he was trying to give them their publishing back. You know what I mean? He could do something like that. Give them what they were owed and a couple of more on top of that. And maybe the NDA is you can't talk about the House of Pain situation again. Whatever the case may be. I don't know. But I do know, in my opinion, he has the means, unless he lying about his wealth. But I would say he has the means to try to make something right. Pay people for their pain. Because at this point, they're no longer seen as the writers anymore. Tyler Perry has kind of just like oversaturated all of the stuff that he has produced. So since they're no longer considered writers on House of Pain anymore, and people don't even remember them, pay them for their pain. You know what I'm saying? Because I doubt he's really going to acknowledge it, because he definitely doesn't want to acknowledge being a bad guy. He always is real quick to say that he's a good person. He's real quick to say that he's a giver and he gives. And sometimes people don't appreciate it. He always kind of plays the victim in the situation. I'm sorry. I just cannot see a Black billionaire or any billionaire being a victim. I can't. I can't see it. It doesn't go hand in hand. It's almost like when you become a billionaire, you have possibly created victims. So that's all I wanted to say on the situation. I'm about to do my review on Power Raising Canaan. For those who want to tune in, I'm about to log back on in like a couple of minutes or so. But yeah, I want to continue the conversation below about this with Tyler Perry speaking at Angie Stone's funeral. I'm not going to continue to play it. That was enough for me to say, hold the hell up. Yeah, just the nerve of you to say that. But again, I would like to know your opinion on it. Do you feel that he has every right to pay people what he wants to pay them versus what they deserve and what their worth is? We have heard that too many times with the Taraji P. Hensons and a lot of other people who are literally breaking down in tears, even with their successful resumes, saying they have never been paid what they are worth. But so they can stay working and bring some money in, they are just taking contracts that they know are not fair, but they need to work. Do you find that being an issue? And do you find it being an issue, especially when it comes from someone who looks like you, from your own community? So let's talk about it. So with that being said, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on my next video. Toodles.